11 o'clock on your Wednesday morning. Welcome in. It is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Tyler Head, Wes Mitchell, and Chris Clark along with you. We've been talking about it all morning, and yes, indeed, it is time to talk to Dawn Staley, head coach of the Gamecock women's basketball team here on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour. Dawn, first of all, thank you so much for taking your time for us this morning. We know you're very busy. Coming off the undefeated national championship season, you were at Disney World. You're at the 76ers playoff game the other day, hanging out with Dr. J and Allen Iverson. You got a gift from Beyonce the other week. You're just living life big right now, aren't you?
It's a good time. I will say that. It's a really good time. You often reflect on what I was doing last year at this time, and it was the complete opposite. So I'd rather have it this way and exhaust myself celebrating than not.
Coach, hey, this is Wes. Appreciate you doing this so much. And I wanted to talk a little bit about your team and just the buy-in from your girls as a whole, the fact that there seems to be a willingness within your group of players to give a little bit on the personal end for the better of the team, obviously, and that allowed y'all to build depth and obviously accomplish the ultimate goal this year. What is it about this group, and how do you continue doing that moving forward now that the title, is in the bag and you go for another one? What can you say about these girls and how they've just been able to make everything about the team?
Obviously, it takes just communicating with them, really directly and consistently. And you have to do it not only to them, you got to do it to their parents, you got to do it to their trainers. You have to do it to everybody that really has or who plays an integral role in their lives. Because, a lot of them only see them. A lot of their supporters only see them, and they only see their contributions. And they don't really they do worry about other people if they're playing ahead of them or they think they're better than them. So you have to explain to them that what their personal standard is, like their personal daily standard. And that's the only competition that you really need to be worried about. It's you. And if you play to your standard and everybody plays to their standard, then we got a big issue because I'll have an issue as to who I play, when, and where. But if you let yourself down, then you leave room for somebody else who's playing at their standard. You let them in on it. And it's just that. I know it sounds very simple, but it is simple when you explain yourself that way and when your players really have that buy-in. Like you have someone like I'll say Sanaya Fagan, who I love to death. Like she's the ultimate teammate, but she's also a young person that really understands when she hasn't lived up to her standard. And you see her playing time fluctuates. It didn't, once it reached the point probably midway through the season, she started just blocking everything out and just playing to her standard. And she played an impactful, integral role on our run to the championship. Like I could count on her. Like I could trust her. And she built that through practice. And then she built that through the playing time that she did get. And then she got extended playing time. And then she started one game. Like it's not, I only have my word. I only have my word with our players. And I try to stick to that as closely as possible. And if I don't, then I'm explaining why. So, I'm fortunate. I'm blessed. I really am. Like, every coach doesn't have the luxury that we have. Does it come with some heartache? Yes. It's hard to not play somebody that's talented. But not so much if they're missing class or if they're not communicating or if they're not playing to their standard. It comes easy. And they really understand that.
Coach, when you look back on this season, one of the things that struck me was, you did obviously display your emotions after the game, and you addressed this. I think it was the first question in your post-game press conference after the national title game of, just kind of discussing your emotions. And I think you mentioned how far that this team had come from, game one to the final game, 38th game, winning the national title, and the growth that you saw in this team. And I know it was all really, really new, on the court after the game, talking to Holly Rowe, press conference. Now that you've had some time to kind of decompress and look back on it, what does stand out to you about how much this team grew and just how they grew over the course of the year?
I mean, it was, I do think at times basketball repays you. It does. If you're in it for the right reasons, you'll take some losses that you don't anticipate, i.e. last year, and then you get some wins that you don't anticipate. And for this team, I just, when I reflect on where we started from, in June, and then you take June, July. I mean, we were afraid to allow them to go home because somehow the school, like our schedule is set up now that they get 3 weeks off in between the last summer session and when we start back in the fall. And it's never been that. It's been about 10 days for the most part, but now it's 3 weeks. So everything that we built, and then we had to build it from the ground up because they did not come in shape as a whole. And so I'm thinking we're going to have to start back over in August. And then they came in back in pretty decent shape. And then you don't really know how good you are because you're really so close to the situation. And we again, looked up on having a really good highlighter, our male practice squad. So you really couldn't gauge how good we were until the first game. And then you didn't want to believe how good we were because what you had been through since June. And then I just thought Paris was the game in which our team, not necessarily our coaches, I would just say the players, really found how good they could be. And then from that game on, they just started holding each other accountable. Like their competitive spirit came out in a number of different ways and through a number of different players. Like Ashlyn found her voice and her leadership voice, but it came through just being competitive and not wanting to lose. And each and every person took a turn in leading our group. The things that they said to each other, the accountability they held each other to. I mean, it was really beautiful. Because usually we have to do some life skill stuff, and we did do some of that. Like one of our former players, Markeisha Grant, has a life skills business, so we wanted to give her some business while also just getting this team to get together, once a month. And it was nothing like dynamic. It was more like they did some like number painting and and they had fun. Like I think they're going to be bored with it, and I'm just trying to give Markeisha an opportunity to work with our team because she's done some great things in the community. So we wanted to allow her to bless us with her skill work and hopefully the team can get a little tighter with it and with every session of hers, with every game of ours, they just found a way to like each other, to love each other, and it was organic. It happened just like organic, and there's nothing that you could take from that. When chemistry is built from an organic place and a genuine place, you just really ride the wave as coaches.
Coach Dawn Staley joining us here on the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Coach, I want to kind of take a 10,000-foot view of the program now. You've been here since 2008, and when you came in here, the expectation was to win and have a lot of success. But 3 national championships later, you capping it off with an undefeated season this year, you sent countless women to the WNBA, and they've had tons of success in that realm. Could you have even foreseen back in 2008 what you would eventually build this program into today?
No, I really like my cup runneth over when it comes to the success that we've had. Although you work for it, You really we put in a lot of work for the type of success that we've had, but everybody does. A lot of people work really hard, and they don't get one. We're very fortunate to get three, and you have to again reflect on the type of players, the type of parents, the type of fams, the type of administrators. We can't be as successful as we've been without the help from like all those entities, because you you can you can actually, as administrators, you can do some things that will damper your workplace, and you can damper the spirit of people who are in the workplace. You can have fans who think we are um I mean, they can pick apart our flaws. They cannot like the makeup of our team and not show us the love that they've given us. I mean, we've had great players come and great players go, and although sometimes that leaves people to put a dark cloud over our program, but we've been able to survive it, and we've been able to survive it because ultimately I just want, and not just me, but our coaching staff, we just want young people to be successful. So everything we do is for their success. Sometimes that's believable, sometimes it's not. But I think if you judge us off of our body of work, and that's what you have to judge someone off of, not one bad day, not one great day, but the body of work. And our body of work speaks to just really having good people and treating our players with the ultimate respect. And that's it. We've treated people well.
Coach, you talked about sort of your players having to try to live up to their own personal standards, and I wanted to talk real quickly about somebody in particular, Malaysia Fulwai. You've called her in the past a generational talent. From my eyes, I mean, I don't know if there's a limit to her upside, but when you look at her kind of, I guess, personal standard, what is the next step for Fulwiley as you challenge her going into this offseason? And just how high is her upside as far as what she could be capable of doing when she puts it all together?
Malaysia's pretty smart, like truly, like she knows herself. Well, if we have to again reflect on her freshman year, she had a short wick, meaning she could go about 3 times up and down, and she's done. Like, it's over. She's trying, but I think conditioning is a big part of what her next part of her journey is. I do think she, and I try to tell Malaysia this all the time, because she plays for the highlights, because she's very creative. She's very gifted. She can do things that no other female that I've seen have ever done, female or male, for that sake. But she plays to that. She plays to the crowd, and she wants to, give them something exciting every time down. And so I'm trying to get her to play in between those moments, because that's when most of the game is being played. It is. So once she's able to master what's in between those highlighted plays, we'll create more highlights. We'll create more like not just creative highlights, but fundamental basketball highlights. And that is beautiful basketball. Like it is. Like I thought she grew. Like if you ask her, I always ask her, like, what were you thinking this play? It could be a turnover, it could be a shot. Like one time, she started off a game where she was just passing. She was just doing a great job at just making the defense forget about her. And then she took probably a 4 shot, right? So, you take a 4 shot, you're going to hear all of our coaches say, make the extra pass. So she comes out of the game, and she heard us saying, make the extra pass, and I asked her what was she thinking. So she said, I have been passing the entire half. So the defense more than likely thought I was going to pass. So I thought it was best to take the shot. Hey, I mean, that makes sense to me. That makes sense to me. I mean, so I was like, okay, that makes sense. Cool. It is that. Like, she understands what she's doing out there on the floor. And I think sometimes as a freshman, you think she just isn't thinking about that she doesn't have that much depth about the game when she really does. And, for her, and I'll give you guys, because I try to be as transparent as possible and not give up too much information about, what they want to do personally. Like, I ask her, like, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to do? What are your plans for next year? What are some of the things that you want to get better at? And she said, you know what? She said, when I came in, I just kind of just wanted to fit in and just get the information that I needed. So I didn't really challenge to be a starter. So I was like, okay, so you gonna challenge to be a starter? She was like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna challenge myself, and I'm gonna challenge my teammates to be a starter. And that's pretty mature. I mean, that's the way actually. Just if you look at how she came in, she was feeling things out. And now she's going to take it to the next level. And once she does, she's going to make us a better team. If she's a starter, that means she beats somebody out. Although every year we start over. So although we know that who we started last year, they should start again. They should start again this year if they don't get beat out. So I'm just looking forward to just everyone being more competitive, everyone working on their games this summer, so we could come in and just be more lean as a team and not just defend. We don't want to defend our national championship trophy. Okay, we want to work towards getting another one. Like, I know that's going to be the narrative for us is the defending national champions, and that's cool because we are, but we can't rely on that team and that experience to dictate how we operate in this space in the upcoming season.
Speaking of that season, Coach, have you? I guess, and I don't know exactly what time of the year this kind of all takes place, but have you been putting together all the pieces for the schedule next year? Any little hints you can give us on possible big names being added? How does all that work?
Scheduling is really hard. It's really hard because people don't want to play us. They don't. I mean, they don't. Like, I mean, and I mean, really good teams don't want to play us. And I don't get it. I really don't get it because people don't realize that it doesn't hurt you to play us. It only helps you. We'll have a great net to start the season. It only helps you. Even if you lose, it helps you. So it's not to say I want people to play us and think they're going to lose because you shouldn't. Like we play UConn. We kept playing UConn for the past 10 years. I mean, for the first 60% of us playing, we lost by 30 points. So by us continuing to play them, we figure some stuff out. You figure it out. You figure out what you need to do in order to compete and win against who I thought was the best team in this decade. You have to just do it. And one game doesn't matter, but one game is great for our game. Like, I'm glad that the SEC is doing the SEC ACC challenge. We'll get a good game. We'll get a great game that was very difficult for us to schedule throughout the year. Who we play? We're gonna. I don't know if I should say this, but we'll open the season in Vegas playing an opponent that is fluctuating because the opponent we were supposed to play is not going to play us anymore for one reason or another. So so it's hard for us to say. We'll play in Vegas though. I'll give our listeners
Okay.
that much.
Okay.
So we'll hopefully we'll get a big plane and take some fans and some donors and make it a great trip for everybody. Hopefully you'll be responsible and not gamble away, all your funds. But we'll go to Vegas. So where else will we go? We're not even finished our schedule yet. We got the ACC SEC challenge. I don't know who will play, but more than likely we'll play one of the top teams in the ACC. UConn comes back to us again because we went to them twice prior to them coming to us this year. We have to go to UCLA. So I think that'll be a big game for us. I don't know. We'll probably have some more big ones, but we got to sign the contract.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, we're certainly looking forward to the upcoming season, and obviously your crew's going to be favored in most, if not all, those games. Before we let you go, allow us to be the first ones to wish you a very happy birthday coming up later on this week. Any special plans for the birthday this weekend?
We had special plans, which was an official visit, but they chose to they chose to commit somewhere else. So I thought I was going to give me a commitment on my birthday, but nope, I'm here. I'm just gonna chill and hopefully take in a Sixers game at home, because when I go up to Philly, we don't win. So I'm gonna keep my butt here and watch it from home. It was a really great game last night that I had a great feeling. I did. I sat here, and usually if I think they're going to lose, I'll move away from the TV. But I stayed glued to the TV because I'm thinking they stole Game 2 from us. We got to steal Game 5 from them. And we ended up winning. Tyrese Maxey did his thing, and it was an incredible day for us Sixers fans.
Well, hopefully the rest of the
But thank you for the birthday wish, and thank you. I do listen to you all, like when I'm driving into work, and I appreciate you covering women's basketball. I appreciate you covering our program and our team like it's a sport. Like, I don't do a whole lot of talk radio, but I do listen to you all, and I do listen to you all probably a lot more than I normally do, just because I know you cover our program. So I really appreciate that.
Well, we certainly appreciate you listening, and it's truly an honor to get to cover your team and get to cover the best program in all of women's basketball, and we are certainly excited to see what the next season and seasons going forward have in store with what we hope is going to be many more national championships. Coach, thank you so much for taking a little bit of your time for us this morning. We know you're very, very busy, and we certainly always welcome you to come back on the airwaves with us.
I'll be back, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Happy birthday.
Coach Staley, and yes, happy birthday once again. We'll come back. We'll recap this conversation as the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs rolls on here on the game.